Hi guys, Kirk and Jay here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today I'm going to give you guys some tips. I mean, this is what we do for a living, stucco for over 30 years. A common issue that most folks have with stucco that's on the wood lath, especially an old home like this is about a 90-year-old house. When you open and close this door, that's a big solid door. It causes vibrations and you get hairline cracks here and there. If you have a leaky roof, oh man, that'll take you down. Here's what they had. Now the fellow said, how much should I break out? I said, well, break out stud to stud and just get the area that's necessary. Remember, if you hit an area like, say, let's see where you are with the camera, like here. Here's a stud, here's a stud, here's a stud, every 16 inches. I said, stay on the studs. Well, he didn't want to go into the radius, and I don't blame him. So what he did is he broke out right to here. Now this is spongy because here's a stud. I marked it every 16 inches. I marked it right here, stud. So because he didn't go into the stud, that's okay. What this is real spongy. So if you pound on this, what it'll do is the vibration will loosen up all these keys. What is a key for a lath sealing? That means the stucco goes through these grooves here and mushrooms on top. That's called a key. Now, because he had a big hole here, this big hole right here, we put this lath here. They put some lath here last week, and they used the wrong lath. They used paperback with the big holes, 17 gauge. And when you try to plaster that stuff, there's nothing for it to adhere, so it just falls all over your head. In fact, most of this is going to fall on, well, maybe not me, but when you're putting mud on a soffit, you get it real rich. Forget that 3-to-1 stuff. Go 2-to-1. That means 2 shovels for every shovel of cement. Normally we go 3-to-1 because I want it super rich. Otherwise it's going to end up all over me. And we're going to scratch this. And because this is saw cut now, that's another issue. Okay, it's saw cut. So what we do is we use a bonding agent. You guys see me using Weldcrete. And get a lot of calls. People say, man, I can't find Weldcrete. There's Sika latex, I think at Home Depot or Lowe's. And then there's the Quikrete, Home Depot or Lowe's. I'm not certain, guys, but it doesn't matter what bonding agent you use. When they broke this out, I said, guys, take a water hose and spray it down. They said, how come? I said, because I want all the dust off. I don't want to be here stapling a piece of mesh and have all this dust come on me. So fall on me. Well, they did a pretty good job. So what we do now is I use this bonding agent here. Again, this Quikrete. And I get so many calls, people saying, hey, what's up with the Weldcrete? Where do you get it? Guys, you can buy this, any bonding agent. Why am I putting a bonding agent right here? Because it's saw cut. Now, if I were to start pounding on this, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do more damage than good. To achieve what I want, it's not worth it. So I'm going to leave it alone, but I'm hitting this with a bonding agent. I'm hitting it with a bonding agent. Actually, I already did all this, guys, but I'm just trying to prove a point. I'm hitting this with a bonding agent, even though they took a water hose and they hit it well. When I got here, I thought, well, at least they did that pretty nice. I'm hitting it with a bonding agent also. Why? Because when I go to put my first coat on this, if there's any dust that they missed, my first coat is not going to adhere. Nothing, guys, sticks to dust. Not paint, not anything. So we're at a stage now where all of this perimeter is hit with a bonding agent and all of the wood underneath. Even under here, it's hit with a bonding agent. Why? Because it gives it an extra grip. And if there was any dust left, it gets it off. Because when I go to put my first coat on here, if it hits dust, it's just going to fall right in my face. So anyway, one last thing, guys. You see me using bonding products that have color. I use those because I can see if an area was missed. The Sika latex or the Quikrete, when it dries, you can't really see it. There's a little slight sheen to it, but you can't see it. That's why I prefer the Weldcrete, because it's colored. Come on, you guys, like Quikrete and Sika, start adding some color to that bonding agent. Anyway, when this dries right here, I'm going to go ahead and apply that first coat. We've got a ways to go, so I'm going to cut it short here and then we'll come back to it. Okay, guys, we are getting ready to do the scratch coat. The scratch coat, I told my brother, Lou, give me some rich mud. And I think I can work this. not as rich as I wanted. Again, guys, when I scratch, I go 3-to-1. When I brown, sometimes I go 4-to-1. With a sealant, I go 2-to-1. I'm just getting the feel of his mud right now. I put it here and I drop it to see if it's the consistency I want. A little richer would have been better, but for your guys' entertainment, the soupier it is, the better, because it'll fall all over me. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to squeeze. Let's see where you're at. I want to squeeze it inside these keys. It's got to go up in here and mushroom on top. So just for the sake of starting, let me see what this mud does. That's not too bad. Do that, guys. And then what I'll do is I'm going to push it in here to the finish that was saw cut. I push it into the finish that was saw cut so that it can really get in there. And here's a tip, guys. This can fall at any time. I got my board right here. If it falls on my head, no big deal. I'm at work. What I generally do is I'll go at arm's length. I won't go right above my head because at the end of the day I'll be full of stucco. So that's not what I want. So now that I'm getting a feel of what this mud will do, and people do call me and say, man, I can't spread ceilings. Guys, ceilings takes a lot of, not extra work, but extra knowledge, because ceilings are, you're defying gravity. And when you're defying gravity, you better know what you're doing. And yeah, it takes a little bit of practice. You see how well this is going on. This is going to take me about 25 minutes, maybe 20, to scratch this entire ceiling. Why? Because I don't want it to fall all over my head. I'll show you how it works above the wire, guys. Now the wire generally holds a little bit better. And again, I put it right here. Okay, we cover the door. Not because I'm worried too much about cement getting on it, because this is a dash finish. And when I go to hose this down, these doors have a tendency water to go through the threshold and warp out a floor. So I don't want these guys yelling at me. So what we're doing is the same exact thing here. Now this side has the wire. Of course, we put the wire because it had a big hole in here. And two guys, if you're doing this where you have a big hole, it tends to lift. It'll fluctuate. So when I put the mud here, it's going to go up, and then it's going to pop back down. With sometimes you lose some wire because there's a hole there, guys. Don't be discouraged if that happens. It's not a big deal. It's the nature of the beast. So see what I'm doing here? I'm going to do the whole thing just like this. Then I'm going to scratch it. What does a scratch mean? That means one of these guys right here. And generally you wet this. It's dry, which might pull some of this off. But what I'll do is I'll pancake it, meaning I'll hit it this way, then I'll hit it this way. And in about, oh, that's pretty crooked. In about 2 hours, I got accelerators in this. That's another story, guys. In about 2 hours, this is going to be ready for the second coat, which the second coat is way easier than the first. First coat is going to go all over you guys. You're going to be covered in it if you don't know what you're doing. And the second coat, when that goes on, that's twice as easy as the first coat. I'll show you that when we get to that stage. All right, guys. Brush it off because, yeah, it gets all over you. This is not a job for somebody who wants to stay clean. If you want to stay clean, hire somebody to do this. You guys who watch what we do, show you another tip too. Okay, I used this scratcher and I did a waffle technique both ways. Then I floated the edges. I float the edges because I don't want this surface past this surface. Otherwise, when I go to spread it and float it, when it's painted, you'll see the lip. We don't want that lip to show. All right. Lou has brought me some mud, and what I'm going to do now is spread it. I'll tell you something too. I forget the way the lathe was running. Let's see. The studs were running this way, so lathe is running this way. When I was union, well, actually before that, I worked for a guy, and he said, "Damn it, Kirk, I don't want you spreading in the direction of the lathe. I want you spreading against it." And I said, "Why?" And he looked at me and was like, "Well, it's better." And I said, "Why? Why is it better?" And he says, "Well, the key better." And I thought, then I made my opinion. I said, "I don't think it's better. In fact, I don't know any difference." He says, "Well, if you do it the other way, it falls out more." I said, "It's not falling out more when I do it." Anyway, guys, the moral to that, little thing is, do whatever which way you like. That was a former boss of mine, and I almost got fired for voicing my opinion. But things like that doesn't really matter. Like my son Dan, years ago when he was really good at tennis. He said, "Dad, I need some, or ping pong, that's what it was." He said, "I need some ping pong shoes." I thought, why? And he says, "Well, they grip the floor better and you can play ping pong better." And he was in tournaments. He was really good. And I said, "Dude, you think if Michael Jordan, the basketball player, was playing against me and I had real cool shoes and he was barefoot, who do you think would win?" He would, because he knows what he's doing. It's not the shoes and it's not the direction you go on last, guys. It's the applicator. Anyway, my boy Dan sure was good in ping pong. Remember one time I was playing, I'm talking since I'm busy showing you guys how to do this. I was playing my son Dan one time, and I said, "Dude, I can't even see the ball." He says, "Oh, just think you wouldn't really see him if I had those shoes." I remember saying, "Man, that bothered you, didn't it?" But again, it's not so much the way you spread, guys. It's the applicator. And me, this is going to take me about, I'd say about 10 minutes to spread it. But while I'm doing that, notice, you see how easy this is going on now? That's because we have our first coat on. Now granted, that first coat's only about, I'd say an hour on there. I'd recommend you guys, if you're going to do this, put that first coat on and let it set overnight. Then come back with your follow-up coat like what I'm doing here. This is my follow-up coat, my brown coat, my second coat, whatever you want to call it, guys. It means the same thing. And for those who email me and say, "What do you mean by a brown coat? It looks gray." Just terminology. Stucco is gray, as a rule anyway. So I'm putting on the second coat here. The first coat adhered by two things. One of them which is keying, and the other was the fact that it was the wood was drying, so the wood soaked the moisture right out of that coat. That's why I'm able to put this on so soon. This, you can tell by looking at it, it's still a little bit wet, and that's okay. And what happens if you get something that falls out? Well, that's just like if you fall down in life. Get back up. I had a couple dropouts, and right prior to doing this, I just went back and put it back up. So it's not a big deal, guys, if you do your first coat and come back an hour later and see some dropouts. That just means, hey, you're working against gravity now. And gravity does have a tendency to want to pull it right off. Let's see, too. Another thing, guys, if you're going to be doing ceilings like this, it's best to have a big trowel. If you use a square, say 5 by 12, not too good. This one's about 16 inches. It gives me the ability to cover a wider area and go a little flatter. This is the area where I had a dropout earlier, and hopefully it won't drop out now, but if it does, not a big deal. We just put it right back in. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm looking at it, making everything true and plumb. I won't bore you with the rest of this, but I'm going to go ahead and spread it. Then I'll show you how we do the last part, and that is the float finish. Okay, guys, we are back. I had to let that set for about a half hour to an hour. Everything, there's a lot of circumstances that make a difference, like how soon it sucks up the weather. Right now it's about 80 degrees outside. It's pretty warm. We are ready. So now it's time to float. And thought I'd spare you guys a lot of my yammering a minute ago and finish this right now. Otherwise I'd talk about a whole bunch of useless crap that don't amount to nothing. Jay turns the radio off, so I got nothing better to do. I can't sing on here. Anyway, guys, what I'm doing now is I'm using a green sponge float. And this is a bucket right here. This bucket has water. Now, this is a tip, guys. You know, some people, if you don't know what I'm doing, notice I'm putting the flat surface here and I'm floating it. I'm using a lot of water because I want to bring the sand or aggregate out of this. So if you do this, guys, where you take a sponge float and you put it like this because you think it'll leave a line. Don't do that, guys. What we do, especially with the ceiling here, is I'll take it and I'll lay the flat surface on it. Just like snowboarding, guys. It's kind of like one more tip on here on application, because I get so many people say, Kirk, now how the heck do you do those ceilings, man? I tried it, and I can't do it. It keeps falling off, and each time I go to reapply, it comes off. I'll show you guys something. One last thing before I end this video. Okay. Stiff mud here, but say, for example, I take some mud off of my hawk, and I spread it. What I do is I get it all off and put more on it. You might have noticed that earlier. And if you don't try it and leave the mud on here and then try to do it again. It'll go all over you guys. Each time you take a trowelful, tap that mud off, start with new mud. Trowel it, tap the off. Always start with new mud when you're doing a ceiling. Otherwise you'll be wearing it. Anyway, guys, impossible to show all the little ins and outs when you're doing something like this, but hopefully you get the drift of how to repair it. My name is Kirk, Jason on the camera. We thank you for watching. As usual, we'll see you guys on the next one. Once again, folks, we thank you for watching, and I really enjoy all your comments.
If you guys like this video, please click the like button down below. And also, if you enjoy what we do, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making these videos for you.
My name is Kirk.
And Jay.
We thank you for watching, and from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.